Ladies and gentlemen, I am very pleased to continue my friend's line and this debate and close the first half. Now, before going to my two constructive points, which are going to be the intervention and its being not legitimate, and the moral hazard point, okay, governing, I will talk. I will rebut my my former. Now, first of all, we've been hearing from the government about choices. Okay, government has been largely concerned with that case. Now, we say that okay. Choices are practically a good thing most of the time, but choices are not relevant when people do not use them, when people do not do anything with them. Michael has showed you, Michael has brought statistics which purely shows and are evident that this choice is irrelevant for those sectors. Why? Because they are religious, because they are patriarchal, because everything we've been talking to you about. Now, giving them choice which they have no way to fulfill or nothing to do with is completely irrelevant in our opinion. Now, second, the power for women. Now, we clearly see that those societies, no thank you, are religious, as we said. Okay, the huge part of it, not to mention the rural areas, and because of the high percentage of the religious people, those guys just do not use what we give them. Okay, we give them birth controls, we give them condoms, we see Chad, we see Uganda. They just don't take it. Okay, they just don't use it. They just don't provide it. Now they've been talking to us about demographic problems. Okay, about unemployment, healthcare. We agree. Okay, we say yes. More children, more births might cause that, but they must prove us that by funding those birth controls, actually birth rate are going to drop down. Okay, they've been talking about the societies maybe adopting it, and we've been showing you guys, no thank you, and Michael have been proving you guys that they are not going to do that, and therefore those demographic problems are not going to be solved. Now, intervention is a main point of mine. Last thing in the rebuttal of the women's rights. Now, we've been hearing about the, no thank you, about the lack of means. Now, this completely contradicts the same fact we've been talking about. You obviously see that both in Chad and both in Uganda, they have the means, they don't use it again and again and again. Go.
What the current problem right now is supply and not demand. We see places like Uganda where the rate of AIDS dropped by 65% in 3 years, ladies and gentlemen. This means people want change, they just simply don't have access to it.
Thank you very much. No, we disagree because we see only 23%, and this is the highest rate, and we see Chad with 2-point-something percentage, which is nothing. This is not a way in the means, okay? Now, no, thank you. Moving to my construction. Now, look, we've been hearing about the intervention, and what we're going to talk to you about is the intervention being not legitimate. Okay, the proposition has pushed us to say what are the damages of this proposition. So we're going to show you. First of all, intervention carries a very clear message of we know better. Okay, we are the West, we are in control, our values in control. What we do is what you should do. Okay, now, not only, no thank you, we know better as the West, we think that your way of managing your life is a mistake. Okay, we think that you guys do not know what you're doing. Okay, and we give ourselves, as the strong, smart West, the right to interfere with the basis of your society. Mike has been talking to you about it. Births and all the sex issue in those societies, in those religious societies, is a very basic value. No thank you. Okay, now, since it's such a private issue, and since those societies take it in such a way, okay, we say that when intruding those countries, when intervening with those countries' sovereignty and affairs, we think that this intrusion, the West itself would never comply. Okay, the West itself will never agree. Okay, on his liberal and democrat mind that anyone will tell him what to do. Okay, the second thing is no, thank you. As I said, it sends an offending message. Okay, it sends an offending message to those countries. Just in a second, and that you can't make it by yourself. And furthermore, and to my second point, a moral hazard before.
We see trillions of dollars in foreign intervention, and this is a form that literally gives people a choice. Please tell me why this one, because of all this economic benefits, would be bad.
Okay, just as I've said, because this is an intervention that relies to the very basics of society, to the very values at the base of this society, because it offends them so much, because it's been taken to them as something which intervenes brutally with what they believe and how they manage their lives, we think that this is damage, and we think that this intrusion is not legitimate. Now, about the moral hazard. We're talking about the ability of these developing countries to govern themselves. Okay, now we say, and that continues our intervention point, and see and showing why this is not the case of we want to intervene in. We say that society feels it is not entirely dependent on itself. Okay, we have a serious hazard that this society cannot overcome obstacles eventually by itself. What does that mean? If that society knows, okay, that for every time their policies or their way of acting, no thank you, does not stand in the same light with the West, and the West does not see it as far, or moreover, when that society knows that the West will save them from every kind of situation they will go into, okay, every time they fall, we're preventing these societies from dealing with those situations, okay, we are not letting them any chance of doing that by themselves. Now, think about crises, okay, those countries will never successfully deal with any hard situation, okay, just like, let's say, a teenager that his parents keep covering his overdraft when he bails out. Okay, because of that, no thank you. Because he knows that every time he's going to get the money back, he will never learn to manage his money by himself. Therefore, intervention on this occasion, okay, when we're intruding on the basic values of those societies, is not only offending, is also not giving them any chance to overcome any hard situations in the future. Now, not only this is ineffective, as Michael shown you, it is also weakens the governing of those countries, and therefore we think it is bad. Now, what we've showed you, basically Michael has come up and talked to you about both the effectiveness and what the consequences are going to be. Now I've showed you, first of all, the intervention of the West, okay, is always coercing their values on the other society, which we think in that case is not good. Okay, maybe in some kind of extremely hard case of war right here, right now, yes. But on overgoing policies or on stuff we think the government itself should be dealing with, we find that intrusive, we find that not effective, and we find it offending. Moreover, I've shown you that the ongoing intervention with these countries and with their governing will never give those countries a chance to actually overcome those obstacles, and therefore we told you to.